You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted Best of Las Vegas. Give them a call, 702-727-9900.
Thank you for joining us here on News 25 and Ace Country Radio and streaming at KPVM.TV. And now on Roku devices on this Monday, October 13th, 2025. Good evening. I'm Chris Palermo. Here is what's happening. Today, the suspects in the Movies in the Park shooting appeared in court. Witnesses were called to answer questions, marking a tense day on the ongoing case.
Today, October 13th, 2025, the two suspects accused in a deadly park shooting appeared for their preliminary hearing in Judge Vito's courtroom. The purpose of the hearing was to present evidence before moving the case to district court. During the case, District Attorney Keith Brower went through the charges prior to the hearing and information of the case.
Also, I've had opportunity to review State's Exhibits 1, 1A, 2, and 3. Parties wish to do a closing argument?
The state will, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Obviously, we're at a preliminary hearing. The state is going to be ultimately asking the court to bind both defendants over on counts 1 and 2. The evidence is pretty clear at this stage, Judge. Both the defendants, Carlos and Anthony, were engaged in an altercation that involved Joey, the decedent. That altercation ultimately broke up. They returned together in the same car with Mr. Blakesley driving that vehicle. They got out of the car. Mr. Blakesley had a firearm. Mr. Aguilar gets out, had a firearm. Mr. Aguilar ultimately proceeds to shoot Joey Perry in the back. And as a result of those shots, he was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Both suspects, Anthony Aguilar and Carlos Blakely, appeared alongside their attorneys. Witnesses testified that the men were allegedly carrying weapons at the time of the shooting.
Well, like reddish orange Camaro pulled up.
Okay. And what happened when that Camaro pulled up?
They got out and...
Okay, let me slow you down here. You say they. Did you see people that got out of the vehicle?
Initially, no, not until I stepped out.
Okay. So you see somebody get out of the vehicle?
Yeah.
With more than one person?
Yes.
Okay. How many?
2.
Okay. And what do you do?
When I looked over and seen dude's arm going up, that's when I started to jump out.
Okay.
But I made it a step out of the car when the shots went off.
Okay. The dude's arm that you saw going up, do you see that person in court?
Yeah.
And is that, you pointed, but there's, and I'm not trying to be difficult, this is crazy, but we're trying to make a record. You pointed at the defense counsel table, but there's 4 people sitting here, 5 people.
The one in the yellow, the orange and white right here.
Is that the person you previously identified?
Yes.
Okay, and that would be Mr. Aguilar, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you see that dude's arm go up?
Yeah.
Okay, do you see anything in his arm or in his hand?
Yeah, there was a gun in his hand.
Okay, and where are you at this point in time?
Stepping out of the car.
Okay, and what do you see Mr. Aguilar do?
I saw and heard the gun go off.
Okay, and Mr. Aguilar was holding that gun?
Yes.
At the conclusion of the hearing, both suspects were bound over to district court. They are currently being held without bail as the case moves forward.
It appears to me from the complaint on file herein and from the testimony adduced at this preliminary hearing that the crimes, as alleged, count 1, open murder with use of a deadly weapon, and count 2, conspiracy to commit murder, have been committed by both defendants. The charge is being pled in the alternative as aider and abettor, principals to the crime has been committed and that there is sufficient evidence to believe that the defendants committed said crimes. Is there going to be any discussion about bail prior to the matter being bound over?
Not on behalf of Mr. Aguilar.
Mr. Aguilar is currently being held without bail, is that correct?
Yes.
And I believe that bail for Mr. Blakely is set at $250,000, or is he being held without bail?
He's being held without bail. We reserved our right for a future Valdez Jimenez hearing. We do not wish to address bail today, Your Honor.
They'll be held without bail, and the defendants bound over to the 5th Judicial District Court for the purposes of arraignment and proceedings consistent thereto on
November 20th, 2025, 9 a.m., Department 1.
More news locally now. There's been an additional arrest in the murder in Pahrump of Joey Perry. Fabian Ferranti is facing serious charges of open murder and more. KPVM's Anthony Roberts reports.
On Friday, October 10th, the Nye County Sheriff's Office arrested Fabian Ferrante following a felony warrant issued in connection with the murder of Joey Perry, which occurred back on July 5th. According to sheriff's officials, detectives have since uncovered new evidence suggesting Ferrante was more involved in the case than initially believed. However, the exact details of his alleged involvement has not yet been released. Ferrante now faces several serious charges, including open murder, drawing a deadly weapon in a threatening manner, and failure to appear after bail for a misdemeanor crime. He is scheduled to appear in court for arraignment on October 16th. News 25 will continue to follow this case and bring you updates as more information becomes available.
More local stories coming up and your changing weather forecast. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25 on this Monday. I'm Chris Palermo. There's been a murder and 2 other people were shot on the west side of Las Vegas in a domestic shooting last night. There's been a fatal shooting on the west side of Las Vegas near Rainbow Boulevard and Vegas Drive. Metropolitan Police Lieutenant Robert Price says the family of 3 were involved in an argument.
It appears that an argument broke out, and during that argument, several firearms were produced, which resulted in an exchange of gunfire. Unfortunately, that exchange of gunfire resulted in all parties being shot.
Domestic violence is rising and the leading cause of fatal violence in Las Vegas. So far in 2025, there have been 61 homicides, with 16 identified as domestic violence related. These figures are according to Las Vegas Metro Police. Officials say regarding this incident, there is no word on who shot who, and Metro says there is no threat to the neighborhood. All right, this is fascinating stuff here. Retired Las Vegas Police Captain Joshua Bitsko has written a book that has just been released recounting his experiences of being one of the very first law enforcement officers to arrive on the scene of the hotel room at the Mandalay Bay shooting during the October 1st incident. News 25 has this incredible interview. Well, we are a little bit later into the month, but it's been a few weeks since the anniversary of the October 1 shooting, and we're lucky enough to have Josh Bitsko with us. He has chronicled his experience of being right outside the door. We're going to get right into it here because there's a lot of trauma involved. Describe to us, you inserted yourself into this situation. What happened on October 1 from your viewpoint, Josh?
Yes, so I was training dogs. I was a canine sergeant at the time, and I was training dogs about 6 or 7 minutes away from, say, the Mandalay Bay. I ran our training program, so I would put dogs through our, new training academy, and I heard on the radio automatic gunfire. And obviously, that's not something, you hear a lot. At that point, I'd been on the police department 17 years, and, I had been, as a canine handler, working with our SWAT team and being on critical incidents. I had been, shot at before, but never had I heard anything quite of that magnitude of just a high-powered rifle, fully automatic on the radio. As I'm driving there, we start to realize that the shooting's coming from the Mandalay Bay because any of these types of events, there's going to be confusion. As I'm arriving, the suspect's still shooting across Las Vegas Boulevard. So an officer was just shot in front of the Mandalay Bay in the arm. So we had to go in through the Shark Reef. And I mean, to this day, it remains the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history with 58 people killed that night. 2 have since died from their injuries. You had 413 people shot or hit with frag and over 800 injuries from like trample and all of that. So the gravity wasn't lost on me and the emotions that are involved in that response. I mean, in one side, you have to do what you have to do as a first responder, as a police officer, but the other side, it's like you're having these emotions and you're trying to navigate through them. And that's really what I put in the book, The Courage to Live, is how do you do that in the moment? And so we make our way to the elevator banks. And work our way up to the suspect's floor. He was on the 32nd floor of the, now after several minutes of this happening, we were able to identify where the shooting was coming from. So I have like an ad hoc team. I have a canine handler, a couple detectives. So we went down to the 31st floor, went all the way down the hallway, and there was a fire escape right next to the suspect's front doors of the suite that he was in. So we were going to use that to gain access to his door and attempt to make entry. Now he had stopped shooting at this point, so we don't know, is he waiting for us? Did he see our response? We know that we can't effectively get medical to the people down below until we clear out this room and see if the suspect had, is still in there, if he got out. We used a pry bar and we were able to take the L bracket off, pry that off and look out into the hallway. On top of that, directly across so he was in room 135, which was the suite, and directly across was room 134. And in front of that room was a room service cart draped with linen, and there were wires going from that room service cart into that room. Conduct an explosive breach. The cart did not explode. It turned out not to be a bomb. But even though the cart was real, I'll tell you the emotions surrounding it were for all of us. We go in, we clear the room out, we find the suspect deceased on the ground with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. One of the most difficult things that I've ever done writing this book, putting down, I was very vulnerable about, my lowest times, my lowest moments, what I did to get through them. There were times I was super emotional and crying as I'm writing, but I'll tell you that coming through it on the other side and now hearing people that have bought the book, that they it helped them and that they got emotional a couple times during the book, that really did it. To put purpose and positivity behind such a horrific event has helped me reframe.
Incredible stuff, and watch for part 2 of that interview coming up this week. Well, coming up in sports, Las Vegas is home to some new champions, and the parade route is set. We'll tell you all about that. Mikey will, at least. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back to News 25. I'm Chris Palermo. Las Vegas is home to new champions. Well, can you stand all this winning? The Raiders won, and well, we have the WNBA champions right here in Las Vegas. Mikey has that. More in sports.
Time now for your News 25 look at sports and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices. WNBA champions. A'ja Wilson went full beast mode in the paint, buckets on demand like she was running a drive-thru. Didn't matter how many defenders were hanging on her, she still crashed in like it was payday. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse for Phoenix, Chelsea Gray, Jewel Lloyd, and Dana Evans showed up, started dropping threes like Oprah handing out prizes. You get a 3. You get a 3. Las Vegas Aces wrapped up a 4-game sweep of the Phoenix Mercury, winning 97-86 and securing their 3rd championship in 4 years. And you better believe Vegas is throwing a party. Mark your calendars, Friday, October 17th at 5 p.m. The parade kicks off at Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard, rolls down to Park Avenue, and ends at Toshiba Plaza. Expect confetti, dancing, and at least 3 people trying to climb a palm tree. Meanwhile, the Raiders remembered how to win a football game. Geno Smith tossed for 174 yards and a touchdown, while Devin White led the defense. Final score, 20-10. The Raiders snap a 4-game losing streak. Over on the ice, Pavel Dorofeyev is hotter than the Las Vegas Strip in July. The NHL named him the league's first star of the week. 5 goals in 3 games, 4 on the power play. And the Battle of the Valleys, Moapa demolished Pahrump 42-7. Next up for the Trojans, they host Meadows School. And that's your look at sports on News 25.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
So Lerner and Rowe Weather Cam looking out from KPVM TV right here in Pahrump, and you can see the wind is picking up. And those skies may indicate a little bit of rain, and that's coming our way tomorrow. Complete forecast is coming up.
Weather is sponsored by the Nevada Dairy Farmers and the Dairy Council of Nevada, sharing the love of all things dairy. Celebrate the best moments with milk. Milk the moment. And the weather is also brought to you by the Ponderosa Dairy, Nevada's largest dairy, fresh from our farm to your table.
Welcome back to News 25. It's Chris Palermo, and we've got your weather forecast from the anchor desk. It is 57 Fernley. Fallon, they're at 63 degrees. Carson City, they're up north, 57 degrees. Tonopah, 61. Goldfield is mining, 62 degrees. Beatty, it's not 80, it's 73. Hermosa is 78, 79 in Las Vegas. Death Valley, 89. Well, it's still sunny here in Pahrump. We're 73 degrees. And the dew point is low, 33 degrees. Sun rose this morning, 6:49 a.m. Humidity is at 30%. Southerly direction on the wind, 14 miles an hour. 75 for a high today, Pahrump and the region. Your sun is going to set tonight, 6:10 p.m. 46% humidity. The winds tonight, southeasterly direction, 12 miles an hour. And a low of 52 degrees. Some parts of the valley get a little lower too. Tomorrow, okay, we have some events coming up this week. We are looking at some rain tomorrow, clouds, 65 degrees. And Wednesday, the sun returns, 62, 69. Thursday, Friday, 73. Looks like absolutely beautiful weather if you're heading into Las Vegas too for the World Champion WNBA Las Vegas Aces Parade. Saturday and Sunday, 77, 79. Sunny next Monday, 74. Look at those lows, 49. I'm still not putting the heat on just yet. Like I said, we have an event coming up tomorrow night. It's a National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk. This would be on his birthday, would have been his birthday. This will be happening at the Calvada Eye here in Pahrump. News 25 will be down there. Stop by, say hello. We'll be interviewing folks down there. That'll just about do it for all of us here tonight at KPVM TV News 25. I'm Chris Palermo. Make it a great night and a great week.